G'day and welcome to Mark and Sam After Work. Today I want to do a quick video to help people doing load data research. So you've got various ways to do it, whether it's books and manuals and bits and pieces like that. In the modern world we've got the internet to do things, and this is just to help people walk through that. Most people already know this, I get that, but this is for the people who aren't familiar with that or just want verification of what they're doing. I'm going to pick a round that suits just a fairly new one. Probably people are searching for this sort of data as well. It could be any round, but you start with the process of typing in your Google search, type in this case it's going to be the 300 PRC. So type that in and this is what actually come up. In here I've got various bits and pieces to look at. I tend to go through, there's ones that talk about things, there's Wikipedia does a lot, where you can go through and basic research on it. In this situation here, there's no Wikipedia, but we've got the Gun University here. They tend to give a little bit like Wikipedia, a general overview of things, so you get an idea of what you're looking at. If you look through here, there's some statistics about the thing, you've got bits and pieces. This is actually set up with a couple of different weight bullets. And you can see we're roughly looking at going to be around the 2,800 feet per second is what you're seeing in around a 225, 212. I would be looking at my data. I'd probably be aiming for the 230 grain bullet to start off with. I found that actually, from my own research, that actually back down in these 225s, 212s, 215s, 210s is a good weight for this. But let's do as I would have started off with, doing the 230 grain 30 cal bullet. In your situation, you should be working out what bullet you want for what you are doing. And that stuff can come out of other pieces of information here, but let's get an idea. This is what this is set up with. The next bit you do, and it is a good thing to look at, is in general idea on the internet with different sites as to load data, which also gives you an idea of what people actually shoot in the way of bullets with these things. So I've just typed in here the 300 PRC load data, and we've got there's sniper's hide, and we'll go into that. There's a load for 300 PRC, and here's someone that's actually done some ladder testing. They're using the 230 grain burger bullet, and you actually see some idea as to what they found in the way of powder weights they used in there. So that's from 77 grains to 78 grains of the H1000 and the sort of speeds they actually saw. So in that 2,800 feet per second in a 230 grain bullet. And none of this stuff we take for gospel. We go through and read the bits and pieces of what people have found, and generally I find from sniper's hide to long range shooters to listen, there's all sorts of bits and pieces. Here's another one of the long range hunters, and you'll find in here probably there's some general ideas of things as well. There's H1000. If you look at this is in the H1000 and talking about 78 grains was their starting point to start in the way of load data. So these are once again just ideas, give you a bit of an idea. Now the next thing I always will go with, once I've got a couple of ideas what we're talking about there, is in the ADI side of things. Now I'll just go back and acknowledge that yes, we know this is, we're taking responsibility for this information. We'll go into find the 300 PRC, which is there. In here will give us some basic ideas of what safe loads are. Once again, you pick the bullet you're looking for. I'm in the 230 grains, and you see I've got a couple. The 2217 and the 2225, and they've got this 71 to 76, the 70 to 76. These are ideas of powder loads. Once again, we're talking ideas. The ADI stuff tends to be fairly safe, but as a newer shooter, you're not sure of anything, you start in the bottom end of things, and so start in the lower side of things, where that's right at the minimum or a little bit above, like 30, probably the 73, 74 grains, and work up. Do your load testing, but that gives you an idea of where to start from. Now you notice here, the ADI, the reason I use it is, yes, they've got these powders, which are not necessarily what you've got and the type of powder you've got, but because it's ADI, you'll find that they also have this thing over here, and this is the powder equivalents, and then we can actually go through their equivalents. So if we look at that, we're talking about the 2225, see that's Rotumbo, that's reload at 25, that's Mag Pro, that's 24N41. These are all the different brands and different names of powders which are equivalent. Not necessarily exactly the same, but going to be very similar. The 2217 is the H1000. 2218 is your 50 BMG. So, and you can see how there, that works for all the sort of stuff and all sorts of load, whether it's the 2208, it's a 2209, it's whatever it is, you get equivalents to be able to work out what powder you've got. Doesn't always match, they're not always there, but it's a good place to start. And some of these other manufacturers also have their powder load charts you can go to as well. So that's probably that's how I'm going to work out my load. I already know, if I go back to the ADI, they're talking about the basically 72 to 76. We have that's in the AR 2225 or Retumbo, and we've got a similar sort of load spread in the 2217, which is the H1000. If you go over to other places, we see that they're actually talking about running quite a bit more, talking about probably a longer overall length. That's setting up to your chamber. We've got videos on that, but they're talking about 78 grains. So I would, in this situation, probably start in the 75 grains and work from there. But this is the place where you're going to find your general information. Basically, we'll recap that. We have an overview, so we're Googling just the 300 PRC and find some, basically some general places to go and look at general information about this, whether it's Wikipedia, whether it's the Gun University, whether it's different shooting tutorials, that sort of stuff. So we get a general overview, get a general idea. If we go into the looking for load data, then we've got the long range hunters, the sniper's hide, general bits and pieces, general places which are going to give you ideas of what's going on, and you'll also get a bit of an idea of what round people are using for different things. So what weight bullet. Keep in mind when you're talking a weight bullet, when you're looking at load data, the weight is the most important thing. The actual bullet, it doesn't change too much. If it's a 230 Berger or a 230 SMK or a 230 Hornady, they're all going to run around the same load. So it's really more of a weight thing. Anyway, that's just an overview of things. That's news on the internet. There's still all the books that people can get in the way of that side of things. They don't tend to be up with your most current cartridges like the PRC, but this can work for all sorts of rounds in all those same ways. Your research in the load data starts here, then your normal testing. Build up for it. Start a little bit lower, work up, do your ladder testing, do whatever it is to get to that place. But this is a place where you can use the internet to actually work it out for yourself, read a little bit, take everything with a grain of salt. But like I said, a good place to start in the way of your load development. Anyway guys, thanks for checking in on us. We'll catch you next time.